The year's 2024 and Ad Nauseam Tendrils is back, the premier Past in Flames deck of Legacy. Let's go check it out. This video is proudly sponsored by Card Market. This is Ad Nauseam Tendrils, or at least the incarnation that we'll be playing today here in 2024. It's so wild because I don't think that this deck has actually truly been playable since 2019 with Cyrus Cortman Gill's amazing run at GP Atlanta and events after that. So why is it good right now? Well, before we get into that, let's give some people credit. Neville Shoot recorded a video with this deck list a couple weeks ago. Go check out their YouTube channel. And then Michael Reed was feeling nostalgic for Ad Nauseam Tendrils and decided to play it in a Legacy Challenge. Michael Reed, aka Eureka, went undefeated, first place, all that good stuff. And then the following day, and I'm going to butcher their name here and I apologize in advance, Hugo Cheisman, a Brazilian player, won the Sunday Challenge with the same 75. So back-to-back Legacy Challenge wins with this deck list, all thanks to Neville Shoot's work. Okay, so why is this good? So the theory behind the deck list is that discard is good again. So you have 4 main deck copies of Duress and Thoughtseize. And that's the idea behind the deck list. So what makes discard good? I think that's the primary question. And that is things like Fairy Macabre, Surgical Extraction, and Consigned to Memory are the most popular sideboard cards right now. Those are all answered by Thoughtseize, and then 2/3 of those are answered by Duress. So the idea is that when you go to put Tendrils of Agony on the stack, you've already played your Past in Flames, you can play a couple copies of Duress, discard all of those Consigned to Memories, and then finally play your Storm spell. Okay, so that is the theory behind this deck list. And I will agree that I do think discard is somewhat well positioned right now, but it comes at a cost. This deck list is playing Duress over Veil of Summer. Veil of Summer beats Orcish Bowmasters. It beats Vexing Bauble. It beats Chalice of the Void. There's a lot of other cards that Veil of Summer isn't beating today because we're choosing to play Duress instead. So it is not free. It is a calculated risk, I will say. And I'm not sure exactly how I feel about all of it. I do think that this is a sound deck list. I'm not trying to say anything bad about it, but I'm just hesitant about the lack of Veil of Summer. That's all I'm trying to address here. And then you're back to playing Preordain, which I'm not crazy about because admittedly I'm a known Preordain hater. I think that a lot of what Preordain solves can be fixed with the London Mulligan, which didn't exist back in 2018 and 2019 when Ad Nauseam Tendrils was good. So we're a critical mass deck, critical mass, there we go, I can talk. And that makes Preordain a sort of filler card that, you know, gets you to the point where Cabal Ritual has Threshold. It finds your copies of Infernal Tutor, which get Ad Nauseam, the card that allows you to beat Graveyard Hate the most. So all those Surgical Extractions from Fairy Macabres, etc. You're really trying to optimize Ad Nauseam, which is why you're playing the main deck copy of Chrome Mox. But at its core, you're a Past in Flames deck, and those are the most expensive cards in the deck. I really haven't played much of Ad Nauseam since I fell in love with Beseech the Mirror. So it'll be interesting playing this card again today. And then obviously you win with Tendrils of Agony. There's Burning Wish in the deck where you can build up to Grape Shot. It's a little bit tougher for a deck like Ad Nauseam Tendrils than it is the Epic Storm. So part of me wonders if this is wishful thinking, but I don't know because I haven't played it. So we're trying to figure that out today. And then you do get a Wishboard package with your 2 copies of Burning Wish. I do question how good a giant Wishboard is when you're only playing 2 Burning Wish, but other people have been doing well. So what do I know? And we're just going to try it out. Like, ultimately, that's what I'm here to do today. I want to give it a test ride just to see if my opinions are correct or they're wrong or where they stand. So thank you for joining me on this league today. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully you like the matches. If you do, like, comment, subscribe on the video, support us, all that good stuff. But that's all I've got for right now. Why don't we hop on into the first match and I will see you there. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members-only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, sideboard guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicstorm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Welcome to the first match. We are on the play with Ad Nauseam Tendrils. Okay, so you have discard, you're lacking a protection, or I'm sorry, an action spell, but you do have a Surveil land. Alright, people are not going to like this. I believe that should be a keep. You have the Surveil land in your deck for a reason, and at least with the Epic Storm, the density of payoff spells is so high. Well, here, you don't have the payoff spell aspect, but you do have 12 cantrips. So you're hoping that your Surveil land at least finds one of your 12 cantrips that then finds you Infernal Tutor or Burning Wish or whatever. So I mentioned the idea behind discard spells in the deck tech and why they're well positioned right now. So if you're one of those people that doesn't watch the deck tech and then asks questions, just go watch the deck tech. I hate it so much. I can't even begin to describe. Somebody will be like, why is this in the deck? It's like, well, you didn't watch the deck tech where I spent 2 minutes talking about it. So please go watch the deck tech. But something I forgot to mention was part of the thesis behind this list is that you're supposed to be, ooh, look at this hand. You're supposed to be able to beat, like lack of words right now, Vexing Bauble freely with a Past in Flames loop. I think there's a caveat to that. That sort of implies that you've already got a Lion's Eye Diamond on the table. Ooh, look at that Brainstorm. And if you don't, you have to spend a lot of work sculpting your hand to a point where you can get Hellbent, even though there's a Bauble on the table. It's possible. But people are using this theory that's why Ad Nauseam Tendrils or Ant is so good right now, is because you can beat Vexing Bauble. The other Storm decks in the format, for the most part, outside of like Black Saga Storm, all have Veil of Summer. And Veil of Summer beats Vexing Bauble without jumping through extra hoops. So I think that's just something to consider here. They cycle a Troll of Khazad-dûm. Is, yes, you don't need to answer Vexing Bauble, and you can definitely have a Troll of Khazad-dûm. I don't care about that. But you do, in my opinion, have to go through more work to get there. So I think that's like, it's nice that you can do it, but other Storm decks can too. And that's a Burning Wish. Okay, so that gets Peer into the Abyss. I do love me a Peer into the Abyss. So on the table right now, we have 7 mana. Dark Ritual will be 8/9. So we could Peer, but we'd lose to Daze. So the question is, do you want to risk losing to Daze here? I think I'm going to Brainstorm and see if we can find another discard spell. Or we could find Ad Nauseam. What to do? I guess we beat... Alright, I'm going to jam Ad Naus. Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual. So the question is, do I want to fetch away the Burning Wish? Is that a card I actually want to reveal here? I think I want to leave it on top in case they have Force of Will, because they do have 2 unknown draws, so let's leave it. You could sacrifice the Lion's Eye Diamond, but it sort of defeats the purpose of leaving the Burning Wish on top so that way you don't lose the Force of Will. So we're going to hit yes a whole bunch, which is the 3 key. We're at 12. There's the Tendrils. We still have a Past in Flames in the deck. We'll stop at 5. Let's fetch. We'll grab Underground Sea. Let's play Dark Ritual. If they didn't Force of Will the Ad Nauseam, I don't think they're going to Force of Will Dark Ritual. And then we'll play Thoughtseize. And the opponent concedes. Nice. Okay. Let's bring in Surgical Extraction, which I do think works well with discard spells, so that's not terrible. A lot of people are playing Fairy Macabre right now instead, because Fairy Macabre can't be countered. So it's just worth pointing out that there's pros and cons to each. And now with the sideboard out, we could probably get rid of the Chrome Mox. And then maybe 1 Preordain. I think we have some more sideboard cards down here too. Let's expand this down. Is this a Defense Grid matchup? I don't know. Probably not. Because Defense Grid and Surgical Extraction are a little bit of a non-bow. A not combo. Let's try resubmitting here. This is certainly an Ad Nauseam Tendrils Ad Nauseam Tendrils hand if I've ever seen one. We will keep Polluted Delta. Okay. Cabal Ritual's the draw. We're going to just play Duress here, because if they opened up on Entomb plus Reanimate effect, I want to break that up. And we could pay for a Daze using the Lotus Petal. A lot of people will say things like, why would you play a Lotus Petal? That's Storm. I get it, but I also don't want to lose. So let's not get our discard spell dazed and just make the better play. We'll take Brainstorm here. Brainstorm fixes what I consider to be a pretty poopy hand, and we're going to make them play a more fair game. They search out an Undercity Sewers with the Polluted Delta and keep the card on top. Flooded Strand. Another Lotus Petal. We'll fetch with the Polluted Delta. Grab the basic island. Let's preordain. We don't need either of these. We'll bottom both. Okay, so if we draw into a discard spell, we could consider trying to win next turn. They cycle a Troll of Khazad-dûm, and then they fetch with the Flooded Strand down to 18 life. Meticulous Archive, so they're playing white. That's spicy. And they Surveil away Entomb. Underground Sea. Okay. We drew a land, so we're not going to be able to win this turn. Not protected unless I draw... Like, I would have to have a weird circumstance, like Brainstorm into discard spell Lion's Eye Diamond or something like that. I'll just grab the Undercity Sewers now. Get rid of the Underground Sea. And then we'll play another copy of Preordained. We're looking for a discard spell. Bloodstained Mire on the bottom. Dark Ritual on the bottom. And there's our discard spell. So next turn, we can try a win. Assuming I don't draw another land. One of the downsides of playing Infernal Tutor, Hellbent. So you need to be able to get an empty hand. And now they have a Thoughtseize. Right on time. So we still have 3 copies of Infernal Tutor, 2 copies of Burning Wish, a Past in Flames, and an Ad Nauseam that we would like to draw. They take the Thoughtseize. Okay. So they have Counter Magic. Tendrils of Agony. We will just pass. They play Brainstorm. Now they're playing Tundra. And another copy of Thoughtseize. You're killing me here, Smalls. So they'll go to 14 life. We know that they still have Daze, 1 Troll of Khazad-dûm, and a Consigned to Memory in hand. They take the Infernal Tutor. Psychic Frog. Yep. Brainstorm. Another Polluted Delta. We'll play the Polluted Delta and pass the turn. They're swinging with the Psychic Frog. No effects before damage, so I'll take 1. They'll draw. They now have 5 cards in hand. Another land. This is brutal. I'm going to sit on that one in case we draw Brainstorm. They now discard the second Troll of Khazad-dûm. And they're attacking for 2. So I'll fall down to 15. They'll draw another card. 6 cards in their hand. We draw another Infernal Tutor. I guess I'll play the Underground Sea. Pass. They discard Entomb. And another Troll. We're taking 4. And they have 6 cards in hand. So they're representing lethal. Okay, so we need to do something here. Volcanic Island. We'll fetch. Go grab Badlands. Take a draw. Ponder's not bad. We'll play Ponder. A discard spell would actually be pretty good here. We did not find one. We will shuffle that. Lion's Eye Diamond. Let's try a Cabal Ritual with Threshold. See if they'll counter a Lion's Eye Diamond with their Consigned to Memory. They don't bite. Okay, so now we will Tendrils of Agony. This should be countered by the Consigned to Memory. And they do counter it with Consigned to Memory, so I will now go up to 11. We'll hold control on Infernal Tutor, and we'll make 3 black. They have Force of Will, Exiling Daze. I guess I can give it one more draw step here. I didn't need to sacrifice the Lion's Eye Diamond, but if the Infernal Tutor resolves and I get Past in Flames, I then have to sacrifice both copies of Lotus Petal, so that way my colors are a little bit more awkward. So let's see if I can draw into Past in Flames here, or the Infernal Tutor for Past in Flames. Surgical Extraction. I guess we can get some info here. Target Force of Will. They had another Force of Will in their hand, so nothing really mattered. Pest controls their white card. Okay, we've seen enough here. We can go to game number 3 now. I'm just going to resubmit. Game number 3, we are on the play. Nope. This one's interesting. I think we'll keep this and get rid of the Past in Flames. There's some argument to keeping it over the Infernal Tutor, but if they have a hand with a lot of graveyard hate, I'd like the Infernal Tutor more. And if we keep this hand like we do, we can operate off basic lands versus a deck that features Wasteland. And wow, this is certainly a hand. We'll take Thoughtseize. Pass the turn. Wow. It's just a stacked 7-card hand here. They play an island into Ponder. They shuffle. That's good to see. We'll play the Scalding Tarn. Fetch down to 18 life. We'll grab our basic land. And then let's Ponder. I don't think I'm supposed to keep this. We need another discard spell for Force of Will. And Brainstorm into the known Orcish Bowmasters is a little bit awkward, so we will shuffle. I found Duress. That's great. So I could play it right now, but we know that our opponent has a Daze in their hand, and why would I want to play into a Daze? I should just wait and then play around it. They fetch with Flooded Strand. And main phase Orcish Bowmasters. Sure. Surgical Extraction. Okay. Let's Duress them. Force of Will, double Daze now, and a Brainstorm. We'll take the Force of Will. The double Daze thing is a little inconvenient for us here. They play their Brainstorm. I feel like I'm at least 2 good draw steps away. And now they cycle Troll of Khazad-dûm. They grab Undercity Sewers and play it. 4 cards in hand, 2 of which are Daze. They attack. I don't think I'm supposed to fetch here, because if I go grab my Surveil Land, I don't have red for Past in Flames. I'm going to preordain into this Orcish Bowmasters. It's going to hurt, but I think it's just what I need to do here. I think I might keep the land, because that means I can Surveil and have my red. Plus, it's still a mana to help beat Daze. So now they're attacking for 3. I'll go to 11. They play Psychic Frog. End step, let's fetch using the Bloodstained Mire. Grab the Undercity Sewers. I don't need a Polluted Delta. So, like, Cabal Ritual might be our best draw here because it doesn't lose to Consign to Memory. We drew the Past in Flames itself. Okay. So, I can Infernal Tutor for another Dark Ritual. And then Dark Ritual, Past in Flames floating 2, but then I don't have any mana to do anything. They have 4 cards in hand, plus their draw step is 6. They can put me to 1. So I think I'm going to Infernal Tutor here and just grab another Dark Ritual. And I'm going to choose to believe that our opponent's not going to discard their whole hand trying to kill me. And now they attack. They discard Underground Sea, so that's 5 damage. They put me to 5, and now they're drawing a card. We'll untap and draw before I cast the Surgical Extraction. So if I if I Surgical first, I go to 3. I'm just trying to think through this. If they have another Orcish Bowmasters, I can't fetch if I Surgical paying life. So I think we're actually supposed to start on the Ponder and see if they flash in Bowmasters in response. None of those were good. We will shuffle. Okay, so we will Surgical Extraction on Force of Will. Oh, I forgot about the Psychic Frog. Whoops. That's on me. So was I supposed to respond to the frog? I don't even remember if I discarded the Force of Will. I definitely Surgical or discarded the Force before a frog came down. So I think we just lost. Dark Ritual. That's probably on me. I should have recognized that. We'll fetch down to 1. Grab Volcanic Island. Cabal Ritual. And Past in Flames. Our opponent has a Force of Will. So this one might have been on me. Who's to know if they drew the Force of Will like before or after the Surgical or whatever. But like, I feel like I messed up. So I don't love that. Our opponent, like, before our turn even started, sent a message about how sorry they were because they've drawn perfects. But I don't know if we would have won anyway, even if I had done that. So feels bad. We're 0-1. I'll take full credit, or full responsibility, I should say. Let's see if I can not play so poorly in the remaining matches. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode, My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. Alright, time for match number 2. So in between matches, I went back and looked at the recording. The spot where I could have surgicaled was a little bit weird. I was at 10 life with 2 fetch lands in play. I have 3 untapped lands. Our opponent has 4 cards in hand. We can assume that 2 of them are days. If I play the Surgical Extraction, I go down to 8 life, and I only have Dark Ritual and Infernal Tutor in hand with 4 lands in play. I'm actually dead on board to the Psychic Frog. And if I pay mana, I could get double dazed even lower and then still not have the win. Or, like, I was sort of stuck in a lose-lose. I guess that's my spot here, or my point here. I should have considered the Psychic Frog plus Surgical Extraction exchange. That said, paying life put me guaranteed dead to Frog. And if I didn't, I couldn't surveil and I run the risk of days. Like, there was no good spot for me there, but it's something I should have recognized, I guess is my point. So I'll take partial responsibility and hopefully we can just win out and we won't even remember that. So this seems like a fine hand. The Badlands is a little bit weird because it doesn't play the Preordain. You're a mana short of Ad Nauseam. We're on the draw, so I'm going to try it. Like, Ad Nauseam Tendrils is a deck with a lot more lands in it than the Epic Storm. So we'll see how this goes. You're also a critical mass deck, so having more cardboard just matters for things like Threshold, for Cabal Ritual and stuff like that. But there's no reset button either. When you look at, the Epic Storm, there's Echo of Aeons that gets you back into games so you can mulligan more aggressively. Nothing like that exists for Ad Nauseam Tendrils. So every piece of cardboard, like, you're really hesitant to mulligan. That's my point here. Lotus Petal. Dark Ritual. Necro Dominance. I guess we're getting goldfished. Okay. Losing the die roll. Would not recommend. Hopefully they brick. Summoner's Pact. Reveals Elvish Spirit Guide. Another Summoner's Pact. Okay. They now play a Manamorphose. So now they have black and blue. So now they go Dark Ritual. Looks like... Sorry, this is moving pretty quickly. They exile 2 copies of Simian Spirit Guide. Born Upon the Wind. So this allows them to play spells at instant speed, like Lotus Petal or Tendrils of Agony. And speaking of Tendrils of Agony, there it is. So now we can go to game number 2. Being on the play and being a discard deck is good. So there's one thing that you should know about this matchup, and I'm bringing in Surgical Extraction, but it's honestly not that good. So the reason it's not that good is that they're not a deck that really uses the graveyard. So they'll be able to just win through a Surgical. So why it's decent is that you're bringing it in primarily to combine with your discard spell. So on the draw, Surgical Extraction is not going to save you. All right, so I think we want all of our things, but what we don't need is the Surveil land most likely, and then the basic island. So we'll side those out, because I want all of my cantrips and discard spells and my Chrome Mox for speed, that sort of thing. But the stability of Surveil and basic island just doesn't matter here. All right, game number 2, we're on the play. Nope. These hands don't do anything. I need a discard spell. There's 7 of them. Was I supposed to bring in the sideboard Thoughtseize? We'll go to 5. There we go. So I think you're supposed to bottom at least the Tendrils, and then you need 1 more card. So is it supposed to be Dark Ritual? Is it supposed to be Lion's Eye Diamond, land number 2? I'm not sure. We boarded down to 13 lands. So if you get rid of one of your lands, you're not guaranteed to shuffle off the Brainstorm. So my gut tells me it's Tendrils of Agony, Dark Ritual. This hand was a much better 6 than it is a 5. On 5, it's like acceptable, but you don't love it. Leyline of the Void. Okay. We'll play Thoughtseize. They mulligan for Leyline and no payoff. We'll take Dark Ritual. Play out Lion's Eye Diamond and pass. Vault of Whispers. And Lotus Petal. Surgical Extraction doesn't really help me much here. We'll Brainstorm. Past in Flames is definitely going back. Same thing with this Surgical. This is a spot where I would actually like the Surveil land, and it feels a little bad to not have it, but c'est la vie. Our opponent is passing the turn. We will fetch. I think we want to grab, like, Badlands here, because Burning Wish would make us 1 mana away from Peer into the Abyss. Play Preordain. Bottom both of these, I think. Alright, well, if we live another turn, I have Infernal Tutor for Ad Nauseam. It looks like we're getting another turn here. Okay, so I'm going to hold control. We'll play Infernal Tutor. And by holding control, you have priority, so that way you can discard your hand of Lion's Eye Diamond. So after that, we'll pass priority to the opponent, and now they're allowed to respond. They don't, and now it comes back to me. We'll grab Ad Nauseam and put it on the stack floating a black mana. Now it's blackjack time. Okay. We're at 10. We have not played a land yet, but this isn't enough mana. Thoughtseize. Lotus Petal's good. Duress. So now we can't win unless I find a Lion's Eye Diamond because I've revealed too many lands. I guess I'll do... A lot of Ant players like it when you do this instead, so that way they can see it in a vertical pile, so I'll do that. I'm at 5. We'll do another. I'm going to stop at 4. I'm not going to risk losing. We'll play Lotus Petal. Play another copy of Lotus Petal. Dark Ritual. We'll play Duress. They have Veil of Summer. No one likes that, so let's exile Veil of Summer here, paying a mana. They have Beseech the Mirror in hand, so if they draw a Dark Ritual, we're dead. They have 2 copies of Veil of Summer. 4 Leyline of the Void. Only 1 Tendrils. Okay. We will play our land for turn. Go to discard. Lotus Petal. Did you draw another black mana? Summoner's Pact. Oh, so this goes and gets the Wild Cantor. We're dead. Yep. That's so rough. Not a very good Ad Nauseam. That said, I probably would have gotten blown out by the Veil of Summer because we did not have nearly enough resources to go Burning Wish and a Grape Shot. That hurts. That hurts a lot. So we got Goldfish this round, and, you know, sometimes that happens. We're now 0-2 with Ad Nauseam Tendrils. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Token Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $14.99. This combo token pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens. That includes our classic Storm and mana tokens, as well as fan favorites such as Goblins, Squirrels, and Slime Time Live. But that's not all. We've expanded this token pack to cover a variety of formats with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. Let's try to bounce back in match number 3. I don't know if this is a keep or not. So you're lacking a payoff. Like, the thing with Ad Nauseam Tendrils is you're not supposed to mulligan. Like, your deck is not a deck that mulligans well, so I think we're supposed to keep this and just hope to convert the Tendrils of Agony later. We'll play Underground Sea and Ponder. None of those are good. We will shuffle. Brainstorm is a good find. Cephalid Coliseum. Okay. Are we facing Dredge? Blue Dredge? Otherworldly Gaze. These builds usually have Force of Will in them. Anger and Island. Yeah, this is definitely the Force of Will list. Let's brainstorm here. We'll hide Preordain on top. The Tendrils of Agony, and then we'll surveil away Tendrils here. Play Lotus Petal. Then let's Duress. We'll take the Breakthrough. Play out Lion's Eye Diamond and pass the turn. Another Cephalid Coliseum. So they're lacking a Dredger here. And they choose to not play the Careful Study. Because they want to use the Otherworldly Gaze. Sure. And they find a Golgari Thug. So that is going to give them Threshold next turn for the Cephalid Coliseum. We'll play Preordain. I don't think I'm allowed to keep these. We'll bottom both. Ponder's a good find. We'll play Ponder. None of those are keepable. Shuffle. Cabal Therapy is going to destroy me here. They did not Dredge. I guess they knew that they had a third Coliseum on top. There's a Cabal Therapy. We need them to not hit Narcomoebas. Well, there's one Narcomoeba. Only one Narcomoeba. Oh, they had a bridge from below. So, and they hit 3 Cabal Therapy, so they're going to get 2 chances here to discard Dark Ritual. Yeah, this isn't good. I guess there's also Poxwalkers. So the second they hit the second Cabal Therapy, we're probably not winning this game. It's brutal. And they named Dark Ritual on the first one. Yep. And now another one. So, what are our outs here? I think it's tough to say because there's no one card that gets us out of this situation. If you drew like another Lion's Eye Diamond followed by Past in Flames exactly, that could do it. You could draw Lion's Eye Diamond. Ooh, Dread Return. Maybe we're not even getting another turn here. They discard their hand. Yeah, we might just be dead. Because they can dredge their deck into Thassa's Oracle. There's a good chance that we don't get another turn. There's 6 cards left. So Oracle would do it. I believe Oracle just wins here. You don't need to make a million zombies. You can just put your card on the stack, homie. It's fine. I promise. Oh, they decided the Dread Return for Oracle wasn't cool enough. And, yeah, so we're not going to win this one. We'll go to game number 2. Bring in Surgical Extraction. I think we can board out the basic island again. Probably the Chrome Mox too. Let's try this. On the play. This hand is good. We keep good hands. I'm trying to not be overly negative because obviously I like the Epic Storm. It's, you know, a deck that I've worked on for the last, 18 years. Like, I'm obviously very biased. That said, this league is not going well. Like, let's just say it how it is. And I do think that the theory behind this deck being decent right now makes a lot of sense. So I don't want to be overly negative over a couple matches because small sample sizes are an issue. And maybe this deck is really good right now, and I'm just not playing it well. That could be another consideration. So let's just keep our head up and try to make good plays rather than tilting or just being like, this deck's bad or whatever, because I don't think that's particularly helpful. So I've hid the Infernal Tutor on top of the deck. That way it cannot be discarded, and then next turn we can play Ad Nauseam. Assuming we get a turn here. Lion's Eye Diamond, Lion's Eye Diamond. Uh-oh. Asking for a turn might be generous. Okay. And they have 2 Golgari Grave Trolls with another Lion's Eye Diamond. They did not hit another Faithless Looting. So I believe we're getting a turn. Oh, they hit the Ox of Agonis. My bad. Maybe we're not getting a turn. Yikes. And there's the Ox. They dredge again. There's a Dread Return. Leyline of Sanctity. They hit Dread Return. So what does that mean? They can sacrifice and bring in the Sawataru, the Infiltrator. I think we're dead. They named Forcible. If I had a Forcible, we would have countered something, but sure. And now Dread Return on the Sawataru, the Infiltrator. Yep. There's a Cabal Therapy. There's not another Dread Return. Okay. So they can name Brainstorm here. And they do. Oh, they're passing the turn. Let's do it. Put old Ad Nauseam on the stack. That is what I signed up to do today, so let's do it. We'll add some black mana. Go grab Ad Nauseam. And then we'll pop this out. It starts with Infernal Tutor. And then we'll say yes a bunch. We do not have a land drop, actually. My bad. We do not have a land drop. I am at 8, 7, 6. We need Dark Rituals. 5. There's 1. Alright, so that is not enough to win. I need a Cabal Ritual here. Or another Dark Ritual, something like that. I'm at 2. 1 Dark Ritual is still not good enough. We have to flip. I'm at 1. So now it needs to be like Lotus Petal. So we hit a Lotus Petal. So let's count Storm. I can go Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual. That's 4. Tendrils of Agony is 5. They are at 20. So something I could do is go Dark Ritual, Infernal Tutor for Lotus Petal. And then try to use my cantrips to find more rituals. I think that's probably the best choice here. So we'll play Dark Ritual. And we'll play Infernal Tutor. Reveal Lotus Petal. We'll play out a Lotus Petal. We'll play out a Lotus Petal. And now my Ponder really wants to find Dark Ritual or Cabal Ritual. Ponder. Finds Dark Ritual. Okay. We'll now play Dark Ritual. And am I one storm short? I think I'm one storm short. Oh my. So I can Tendrils them to 2. Alternatively, I can ponder looking for another Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual, or Cabal Ritual. I think it has to be that. So we'll play ponder. We must shuffle. Okay, shuffling our library. We get Lion's Eye Diamond. I don't have a win here. We needed to find Cabal Ritual or another Dark Ritual. Damn. Play Duress. And unfortunately, that's the match. You can't play Burning Wish off black mana. Ad Nauseam from 17 life, was it? I think it was 17. It might have been 18. But Ad Nauseam from a very high life total was not enough to convert. That is definitely a feels bad. We're 0-3. If you're still watching, make sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're near the description, here's a reminder to use our affiliate links if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, Card Hoarder, or TCG Player. Just above those affiliate links, you'll find our social channels. Make sure to join those to connect with us. Can we win a match? It's match number 4. We're on the play. I certainly hope so. Sure. I guess we'll keep this. I'm feeling a little defeated at the moment. No idea what our opponent is playing. I'm trying to make good Ad Nauseam Tendrils content, and the deck is just making it very tough on me. I'm trying not to blame it too much, but things have not been easy. We'll play Bloodstained Mire, play out the Lotus Petal, and we'll pass the turn. Blooded Strand, okay. We'll fetch using the Bloodstained Mire. Go grab our Undercity Sewers. I don't need another Brainstorm. One is certainly fine enough here. Infernal Tutor. We'll play Brainstorm. Brainstorm resolves. We'll put back Tendrils of Agony and the extra Infernal Tutor. We'll play Scalding Tarn. Fetch. Grab Underground Sea. And let's play a Duress. So when Duress resolves or gets countered, they're not Sneak and Show. We'll take the Force of Will. Next turn, we can go Brainstorm, Cabal Ritual, Ad Nauseam. On the end step, they fetch with Flooded Strand and search out a Thundering Falls. Okay. If you somehow kill me here, I'll be deeply disappointed. And they find Brainstorm, one of the best cards they could draw into here. Because Brainstorm can find counter magic to stop my Ad Nauseam. They play Scalding Tarn. I think no matter what, I'm going to jam here, because next turn they could have Sneak Attack into Emrakul. We'll play Lotus Petal. Let's see if I can find a discard spell here. Maybe it's a little greedy, because I want mana floating for Ad Nauseam. But if I get Force of Willed, I don't know. I guess if I Cabal Ritual, Ad Naus, I play around Spell Pierce. So maybe it's just right here to... I don't know. I'm going to just Cabal Ritual Ad Nauseam. Higher success rate, and if they have Spell Pierce, this just pays for it, and it resolves. Sweet. Okay, let's click yes a bunch. And we've won game number 1. That is a good sign. Let's go. All right. So now we're on the draw for game 2. Should we just leave it? Like, Surgical's not even that good against Sneak and Show. You could bring in Dress Down, but, like, I don't think you want to be holding open mana to maybe stop on Atraxa. I feel like that's not a winning strategy. You could bring in Defense Grid. That is a permanent you can put in play off Show and Tell. So let's board out 2 copies of Preordain and try this. Keep Volcanic Island into Vexing Bauble. Alright, I was told that this deck is good because it can beat Vexing Bauble. Let's see it. Thoughtseize. We'll take your Brainstorm. Pass the turn. They play Scalding Tarn. We'll play Polluted Delta. This way, if for some reason they draw Magus of the Moon, we can go grab our basic land. They search out Thundering Falls. Ancient Tomb. I'm very nervous right now. Lion's Eye Diamond. That does not help us. So that's probably a card we'll be putting back here. We'll put back both copies of Lion's Eye Diamond. And then we'll fetch. We'll grab the basic island. Whoops, undo that. Did not mean to click on Swamp. And now we'll play Preordain. Preordain on the stack. Do 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 do. All right, opponent. It's a card that's barely playable. You can just let it resolve. There we go. We will keep both of these. Pass the turn. 3 mana for this card I've never seen before in my life. Alright, let's read it. So it's a 3 mana legendary artifact. When it enters, exile all creature cards from your graveyard. Tap, exile the top 3 cards of your library. 4 mana, put a creature card exiled with this under the battlefield under your control. It gains haste until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. Okay. We will now play Brainstorm. We find Duress, which was a very good find. We'll put back the 2 cantrips. And this should just be a very simple win. Dark Ritual. I guess I could have started on Duress, so that way if for some reason they countered the Dark Ritual, I wouldn't be punished on my colors. But I think I might be able to get up to 17 even if this was countered. That is 17 life. I think I could get up to 18 Storm. Or 9 Storm. So you would go Cabal Ritual, Duress, Infernal Tutor for Cabal Ritual, Cabal Ritual, Cabal Ritual, Infernal Tutor into Tendrils, and I believe that does it. So I guess this Dark Ritual doesn't really matter. And Dark Ritual resolves. We will now play Duress. They force a world with their own Vexing Bauble on the table. I love sneak and show players. Let's go. Nice Vexing Bauble. Okay. So now we can Cabal Ritual, Infernal Tutor, reveal Cabal Ritual. We'll now play Cabal Ritual, play Cabal Ritual, and now we'll Infernal Tutor, Storm 9. And you could chain copies of Infernal Tutor, so like let's grab another. This is called an Infernal Tutor chain. And you could do this until you ran out of mana into Tendrils of Agony. So it looks like here we did beat a deck with Vexing Bauble on turn 4 with no artifacts. So we got to do one of the reasons that people like Ad Nauseam right now, or Ad Nauseam Tendrils right now, because we were able to just completely dodge a Vexing Bauble this game. So we got to showcase it a little bit. We've won our first match. We're now 1-3. Let's just win match 5, finish this. I'll get half my play points back. Maybe we'll have an Ad Nauseam that doesn't fail us. It'd be great. But let's see how we do. With Card Hoarder, renting your favorite combo deck has never been easier. There isn't a more affordable solution for Magic Online. Want to play the deck in this video? Check out the pinned comment below to easily rent the deck from Card Hoarder. Did you know you can rent the Epic Storm from Card Hoarder for as little as 7 tickets a week? The final round, we're on the play with Ad Nauseam Tendrils. And while we have Ad Nauseam, Infernal Tutor doesn't have a good target to get right now because the Ad Nauseam is in our hand. So hold on. Burning Wish into Pier's 9 mana. This actually works. This is a weird line, but we're going to keep. So turn 1 Undercity Sewers. We'll play all our artifacts. And then on turn 2, you go Infernal Tutor, crack for 9 mana, Burning Wish, peer into the Abyss, draw half your deck. And with that half of your deck draw, you need initial mana, so either your 4 Lotus Petals or your Singleton Chrome Mox. We'll play Undercity Sewers. I think we'll keep the Delta on top, just in case we get hit by a Wasteland here. Pass the turn. Tundra. Into Ponder. So, people might not like this. I'm going to Peanut Butter and Jam. This hand doesn't do anything else, and our opponent was F6'd on the first turn. So, when in doubt, shove. Infernal Tutor. We'll add 3 red, 3 black, 3 black. Infernal Tutor on the stack. Our opponent apparently pondered into Force of Will. Alright, so we've lost this game, but I need to find out if they're on Beanstalk or Cephalid Breakfast, so that way I know how to sideboard. So we're going to just pass. Looted Delta, Underground Sea, Psychic Frog. So it's not Cephalid Breakfast, it's a fair blue deck. We can go to the next game now. Womp womp. Bring in Defense Grid. Sideboard out the Chrome Mox and a Preordain. Hit submit. Game number 2, we're on the play. I guess you're supposed to keep this. It doesn't make me feel very good. It's a little sketchy, I think. So with this hand, you'd likely want to Preordain into the second land, resolve Defense Grid when they're tapped out on turn 2, so that way they don't have Consigned to Memory open. and try to wiggle a game plan around like Infernal Tutor for rituals, eventually win the game with Past in Flames. And this was a perfect preordain here. Turn 1 Tundra into Grafdigger's Cage. So this Past in Flames not very good anymore. Badlands and Defense Grid. We will likely want to trade this Past in Flames later off a Brainstorm. The Force of Negation exiling Jace the Mind Sculptor. Sure. Polluted Delta, or Underground Sea, and Thoughtseize. With the Thoughtseize, they discard my Preordain. We draw Polluted Delta. We'll now play Infernal Tutor, go grab another copy of Dark Ritual. Pass the turn. We're looking for a way to get this Past in Flames out of our hand. So Brainstorm or Lion's Eye Diamond are the obvious cards. We sideboarded out our Singleton copy of Chrome Mox, so that will not do. I could go grab the Surveil Land here, but I wonder if I'm supposed to save it. And we rip Ad Nauseam. Wow. They have 2 cards in their hand. I think we're supposed to jam here. Like, if they have it, they have it. We'll grab Basic Swamp. Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual. Ad Nauseam. You had Force of Negation Thoughtseize. And they did not have a third. Okay. So far, so good. We're at 11. There's the Infernal Tutor. We'll stop with Duress, I think. Play out the Lotus Petal. I believe our opponent has a Consign to Memory in their hand. We'll play Duress. There it is. The pause on Lotus Petal gave it away. And at this point, it's just casting spells until the opponent's dead. We've had a successful Ad Nauseam. We did both things in this video that this deck does. We had a Past in Flames loop. We Ad Nauseam for victory through a Grafdigger's Cage. Lion's Eye Diamond, followed by another Lion's Eye Diamond. Let's play a Ponder. We could shuffle those. Burning Wish. There's got to be a Tendrils of Agony in the sideboard, right? Yeah, alright. You know me, I love Burning Wish, so we'll play it. Grab the Tendrils. And now we'll cast it. So that is how we do. Alright, 1 game away from getting half my entry back. No changes to the sideboard plan, I think it's fine. Sure, this hand seems delightful. Keep. We'll start off with Undercity Sewers. I'd love a Dark Ritual, thank you. They find a Meticulous Archive. And Brainstorm. They play Tundra. And pass. So we'll play the Polluted Delta here, pass the turn. So I can Brainstorm to hide the Ad Nauseam if they, for some reason, have a Thoughtseize on this turn. So that's the reason I don't want to do it in the main phase. Marsh Flats. Or Underground Sea. Lavinia. So we probably want to get rid of this Lion's Eye Diamond, but we can still Ad Nauseam through Lavinia. That is not a problem. Get rid of the zeros. Yeah, like we're in a spot to just casually win through Lavinia. We will fetch. They have 5 cards in their hand still. So we need to make some land drops this game, but, you know, there's worse positions to be in. Infernal Tutor. Let's play another Brainstorm. Okay, so we could try the Past in Flames win instead. Get rid of the island here. And then next turn we just have a Past in Flames loop with double discard. So we'll play a Thoughtseize. Oh no, I was supposed to put back the Ad Nauseam. I wasn't thinking. Ah. Well, it looks like they have all the protection in the world, but... Yeah, should have kept the land and put back Ad Naus. We'll take Force of Negation. Yeah, that's my bad. I was thinking about how we didn't need land 5 because we were going for the Infernal Tutor into Past in Flames win. So I was like, well, if we're doing that, I don't want to wait an extra turn to get Hellbent. And then I was like, oh, the Lotus Petal doesn't help, but at least Lotus Petal I could have thrown away into the Lavinia, unlike the Ad Nauseam. So I should have kept the Lotus Petal over Ad Nauseam. And now we'll take the Force of Will. So they have Snapcaster, Prismatic Ending, Consign to Memory. So I think we want to draw like another Brainstorm now. Alternatively, if I drew another Thoughtseize, I could Thoughtseize myself for Ad Nauseam. I think my best draw is Brainstorm into Discard Spell, though, because that would give me a win with protection. They're going to play Snapcaster Mage in their main phase. This way they can play Brainstorm, and their ideal situation is they find another land, so they can hold open Consign to Memory. They did not find a land. Infernal Tutor. I do not have another swamp to get with Infernal Tutor. I can go get like another Dark Ritual or Cabal Ritual. I think for the sake of just like ease on mana, I'm going to get Dark Ritual. I understand Cabal Ritual makes more mana and I'm near threshold. But if something were to happen like Surgical Extraction on Thoughtseize, it doesn't rip me off of threshold here. The attack will put me down to 8. I'm really regretting keeping this Ad Nauseam right now. I messed up. I was too in my own head about needing to be hellbent off Infernal Tutor. And there's a Thoughtseize. So I guess we're saying we want to draw land number 5 next turn. I would also take Past in Flames. They take the Ad Nauseam, really? So you think you just have Infernal Tutor beat? I'm so confused right now. Or you think there's nothing for me to get off Infernal Tutor? We'll play Preordain. We'll keep the Cabal Ritual. Either they have a Force of Will. Like, I don't understand this play if they don't have Force of Will. Did they forget about Past in Flames? Okay. Infernal Tutor floating 9 mana. And they did find another Force of Will. That's going to do it. Alright, so we went 1 and 4. Not a very pretty league. So we did get to win through Vexing Bauble. We had a similar thing in that last game where we were hypothetically in a spot where we could have beaten Lavinia. So I understand why people that loved this deck in 2018 and 2019 would want to play it again. There's some newer cards that I missed personally, but that's probably a me issue. I also didn't play that well this league. Like that match 1 Surgical Extraction play, I think I was in a lose-lose spot. You're welcome to tell me if I'm wrong, but I went back and looked at it, and I think the only way I win is if I draw like an actual perfect for turn while having the foresight to Surgical the Force of Will in that spot. And then that last game, I definitely should have put back the Ad Nauseam. That's my own fault. I probably should have put back the Ad Nauseam and the Lotus Petal because I missed my window. That said, they played the Brainstorm that turn and found Force of Will, so I actually would have ended up losing there anyway. But I should have played better. It's no excuse. Is Ant back? I'm not so sure, but you're welcome to tell me in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful day and keep storming. Hey you, yeah you, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you're interested, you can visit theepicstorm.com/donation-decks to see your combo deck here on this very YouTube channel. You can even join me in a video in the Epic tier. It's totally worth it, I promise. And see ya. Thanks for watching.